Okay, I think Biola has been really intentional about addressing racial issues on campus. For instance, with the SCORE conference, um, they get I know really influential people who are dealing with the topic to speak, and it's something that's really widely promoted on campus. And then, from my experience, the teachers I've had in whatever classes, whether it's Bible classes or my psychology classes I take for my major, or just the general eds, they often bring it up and use it in material as something to consider, to think about, to talk about. And so, yeah, I think it's pretty well brought up and looked into across the board.
Have you heard the term white privilege?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means to me, well, majority of, at least what to me, white people in general, have higher rate of wealth and socioeconomic status, and so it's essentially the pleasures, the perks that go with that, i.e., money and living in nicer neighborhoods and school systems and whatnot. That characterizes the white community more so than other ethnicities. That to me is white privilege.
Can you think of an instance when you kind of already answered it? So, say on Biola's campus,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's white privilege on
Yes.
this campus? Yeah, can you give
Well,
an
most of
example?
us are white,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
generally we come. Biola is, yes, very much so a white majority, and it's also a private Christian school, and so it's catered to more wealthy people. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so, yeah, I mean, the majority is well off, middle to upper class white students. And so, yes, there's definitely a lot of white privilege, I would say so.
Can you give an example of of being white, how that has helped you? Not necessarily just financially, just in general.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I would say it's helped me in that I've grown up in the United States with, I mean, I wouldn't say that, say my parents, my dad, who's for much of his life, a lot of times he's spent unemployed and with lousy jobs. Also, he's had a lot of times where we've had really good jobs. I don't think he got those really good jobs because he's white, but he did, and I have grown up in a white family that has had academic opportunities and whatnot that is more characteristic of white families. And so I would say that the academic opportunities I've had with going come to Biola and with having a family that really emphasizes it, and with parents who are have had success in careers, that is something I don't think they got because they're white, but I think definitely is more characteristic of white community. And so in that sense, I would say yes, that's been a benefit of being white. I wouldn't say it's exactly happened because I'm white, if that makes sense.
Can you think of an incident where being white has hindered you in a way?
I mean, that's a little hard to say. I don't know exactly like what could have been, what
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
happened if I were,
Yeah.
if I were not white.
Sure.
I think, I mean, I would say maybe not so much that I'm white, but that I've grown up in white-dominated populations that has not lent itself to me being culturally adept and knowledgeable, which is not a good thing. That's not of benefit to me or anyone else. And so I would have liked to have been. I think I want to be in the future more knowledgeable in different cultures, different ethnicities. And so I wouldn't say it's because I'm white, but because I've grown up in white-dominated communities and groups. I think that is a deficiency that I've experienced.
And then when you first came on campus and saw the Jesus mural, what were your initial thoughts?
My initial thought was, that's really kind of over the top. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I feel like the question is pointing a bit toward, given the context, is pointing to what do I think about him being white. I'm gonna be honest, with my background, I didn't think about it at all. Had no thought about him being white. What ethnicity is didn't occur to me.
Yeah. And then how would a student of color's bio experience be different than a white student's?
Yeah. So I think they just have a student of color would have a different experience to me, not necessarily in anything that they do or anything that we tangibly experience like physically, but more their perspective on everything that we do experience would probably be rather different. And so I don't know exactly, because I'm white and come from that background, I don't know in maybe what ways that I'm possibly catered to as a white person. And so there are things that maybe that goes on with Biola and how it works that impacts people, students of color, in a way that I don't know about because I don't see it from their perspective. And so with a different perspective, I don't know exactly what their experience is like then. I'm sure there are things that make them feel like they've been, placed in a minority, placed in a box to the side that I'm not aware of. Then at the same time, I think there's a big, like I mentioned earlier, there's a pretty big emphasis on Biola's campus about inclusiveness and about just ethnic diversity, and there's missions conference and SCORE conference, and I think these are things that really value their diversity. And so again, I can't say, I don't know what their experience is like, but I do think I can see positive things that's done on their behalf and to give them a really cool experience. But I also know that, who knows what kind of things may be negative for them that I don't have to deal with.